Everybody, it's Mike Davie here from Quadrant, coming at you with a data space analysis from Singapore. So what we're going to do once every week is we're going to come to you with a few articles or a few use cases of how data is being used. At Quadrant, people always ask, what are we trying to solve, and how do people actually use data? And so what we're going to do is sort of do this web series highlighting, how governments or business are using data to improve the lives of the citizens and customers. So this week, our focus on location data. I'll highlight three use cases here. If you want to find out more information, we'll keep links directly to the articles in the description. And don't forget to subscribe and hit the like button. So the first article here is actually predicting flu outbreaks. There's actually multiple use cases in this one article that you can check into, but the first one is really what caught my attention. And it is GSK drug company, who they're trying to understand flu epidemics. They partnered with a company called Black Swan, who is doing location analytics, and they're trying to see in Indonesia where flu's basically where the outbreaks or where the epicenter of flu outbreaks are. And so why is this important? What value does it bring? Well, the first thing is, not everybody has a luxury of living in a major city where drugs and medical services are easy to come by. And so by analyzing tweets, they could see where people were getting sick. And this helps better prepare businesses to be able to supply products into areas like, especially if you're having flu, you want to make sure you have the right medication supply available to the medical system. And so this article sort of talks about how they were sort of using Twitter to derive these insights. So Black Swan, who was doing geospatial analysis, was the one who made the system, and they did use it for marketing purposes. But on the other side, what they did also was they provided this later to the National Health Service. And this is actually a really good way that that industry can help build these models, and these models can be used for other purposes. We've at DataStreamX and Quadrant Protocol, we've spoken with multiple governments, and I worked with them on these things, and one of them was regarding like the breaking out of like Zika and dengue. In Singapore, we live along the equator, and that's a major problem here. Mosquitoes carrying dengue fever. Dengue for years and years has been an issue here in Singapore, and then with the Zika outbreak a couple of years back, it was very important because Zika affects pregnancies and can cause detrimental effects to pregnant women who are exposed to this. So understanding where these outbreaks are helps the government basically deploy the services, either if it's medication or in the case of mosquito-borne diseases, understand where they should flock, where they should intensify their flocking to ensure that the spread of the disease doesn't take place. And this is all done with location analytics, understanding where people are, where the outbreaks are, and deploying the services so that, be it getting access to prescription medication or getting the mosquito population lowered, it helps out citizens, and it helps improve society and basically lessen your chance of getting sick. The second article here focuses, this is from September 10th on VentureBeat here, and is saying how location data gives you the intelligence your CRM is missing. And why I found this article quite interesting is that a lot of companies are analyzing data now. They've deployed the systems to start collecting data on their own customers to improve the services and products and services they can offer. But one thing that happens once you start analyzing your own data is you realize you really have zero visibility into your own clients once they're not consuming your products and services. And so one of the use cases they give here is regarding in professional sports, is that in the NBA, or I'm from Toronto, the Toronto Maple Leafs, a lot of people buy season tickets, and a lot of the people who own those tickets don't actually go to the games. So as a franchise, you actually don't even know who's sitting in their seats. You don't know anything about them. Maybe Coca-Cola owns 100 season tickets, and then they give them to different employees, but who are they giving them to? Who's actually showing up at the games is very different than those who actually bought the ticket. And so by using location analytics, you can understand your clients, your patrons a lot better. And so this article is actually really good to sort of open your eyes to companies who realize that they actually have no visibility on the data. So big companies that have a lot of data realize that they don't have the data outside of their own organization, and that's sort of in showing how location analytics and location data can help shed some light on their customers. And so lastly here, this one was really interesting. It's holding war criminals accountable with the Ethereum blockchain. So do check it out. I'll have the link, which will give you a full description, or give you the full article in the description. So please do check that out. But what it's talking about is this Sentry system from Halal Systems. What it does, it's a system to track bombings, air raid sirens, and bombings, air raid sirens, as well as visual. Visual. When people see an airplane, visual data. When somebody sees it, they can track it. So they track these 3 parameters: when an airplane goes by, when people spot it, when a bomb is dropped, and when a siren goes off. And so what this does is that it allows people to get an understanding of when these events are occurring. And so it's really good use of location data to understand, so hold people accountable. So in this case, putting politics aside, it gives an account by account of when these bombs are actually dropping in Syria. Why blockchain? Now, why is blockchain important in this scenario? And how does this article tie back to businesses? Is that being a solution that has to do with bombing, war is very political. That depending on what side you're on, if you're on the Assad side, and Syrian side, and Russian side, or if you're on the US side, or what, you can skew data for your own political purposes. And what Halal does not want, they don't want to be known, they don't want somebody to come to them saying that you're fabricating this data for your own political gain. So by putting the data on the blockchain, it's always, in a public forum, it's always referenceable, that people can go back and see exactly when this data was created. So whatever analysis is being done on it, the original data can be referenced. And this is extremely important because people can go say, oh, you fabricated the data, or you skewed the data for your own political gain. And this happens all the time. It's very easy for a smart data scientist to fabricate new data to support their hypothesis. And so that's why they're using the Ethereum blockchain. So you can go through and see how they do, how they're tracking it and why they're tracking it. But how does this tie back? How does this use of location and bombings have to do with location for colds and for flu outbreaks and for businesses? Is that's actually what we've seen in the commercial space too, is that people will fabricate location data to solve their own commercial gain. Be it create new location, fake data to basically, if they're selling the data to increase their volume, or to make fake data to support a hypothesis of X amount of people go from here to here, or there's this amount of people, not bringing too much politics in this, but we even see at the Trump inauguration, where there was a big political thing on how many people were actually there and people fabricating numbers. So by using blockchain, you can create this immutable ledger that you can reference the data. By hashing the data, putting it on a public blockchain, whenever you go to consume it, whenever you go to start your analysis, you're always going back to the data source and ensuring that the source of the data, the state of that data, is true to the day that it was created. So I hope you guys got a little bit of sense of how some companies are using it. So please do check out the links in the description to learn more about how these companies and organizations are using location data. If you have any use cases on location data you'd like to bring up to the group, please put it in the comments. Any questions, we'll be here to answer them as well. And as always, click subscribe, and we'll be coming at you next week with some more data use cases. Thank you very much.